She must have escaped. Please don't do this.
I will always be with you. Goodbye, Mike.
So, that's it. It's actually over. We all knew this day was coming, but I don't think I was actually ready for the credits to roll that one last time. We literally watched these kids grow up. We watched the cast grow up, and honestly, a lot of us grew up right alongside them. It really was a masterpiece. From the moment Will went missing in 1983 to, well, where we ended up. It defined a huge era of streaming for us. And now, there is this massive, Demogorgon-shaped void in our lives. And look, I'm going to be honest with you, nothing is ever going to be exactly 100% like Stranger Things. We have to accept that. We have to let it go. But just because the Hawkins storyline is finished doesn't mean we stop looking for that feeling. I've put together a list of 14 shows that are the perfect medicine for your post-finale blues. They aren't exact copies, because let's be real, nothing will ever be Stranger Things, but they are incredible in their own right. So, grab your snacks, get comfortable, and let's find your next obsession. Number 1. Alice in Borderland. If the thing you are missing most right now is the sheer, heart-pounding danger of Stranger Things, you know, that feeling during the Hellfire Club arc or when the gang is fighting Vecna, then you need to start Alice in Borderland immediately. Imagine if the stakes in Hawkins weren't just about saving the town, but about surviving the next hour. This show takes the teens in peril trope and dials it up to 11. It's a Japanese series based on a manga, and it follows a gamer named Arisu, which sounds like Alice, who finds himself trapped in a parallel, completely empty version of Tokyo. But it's not just a ghost town. To stay alive, he and his friends have to compete in these brutal, psychological games represented by playing cards. It has that same, solving the puzzle to survive, energy that we loved in Stranger Things, but it's grittier. You watch these characters figure out the logic of this twisted world, kind of like figuring out the rules of the Upside Down, but if you get it wrong here, there are lasers involved. Season 3 is already out there, so you can binge the whole thing right now. Trust me, it's a wild ride.
Keine Spur, nichts. Als hätte sich in Luft aufgelöst.
Number 2. Dark. Okay, if your favorite part of Stranger Things was the deep lore, the government labs, the history of Hawkins, the way everything is secretly connected, then Dark is going to be your new obsession. But fair warning, you cannot look at your phone while watching this. It demands your full attention. It's a German series set in a small town called Winden, and it starts exactly like Stranger Things. A young boy goes missing near a mysterious cave. But where Hawkins deals with alternate dimensions, Dark deals with time travel in the most complex, brain-melting way possible. It spans 3 generations of 4 interconnected families, and every single detail matters. The atmosphere is moody, rainy, and filled with dread. It captures that small town with a rot at its center vibe perfectly. You get the 80s timeline, you get the modern timeline, and you even go back to the 1950s. It explores how the past haunts the present, literally. If you loved the whiteboard scenes where Dustin and the gang try to figure out the timeline, Dark is basically that, but for 3 seasons straight. It is a masterpiece of storytelling.
But it's not.
There's nothing out there, guys. We're all alone.
Number 3. The Society. Let's talk about isolation. One of the scariest parts of the Upside Down was how alone Will felt. The Society takes that fear and makes it the entire plot. Imagine if the Hawkins kids came back from a field trip and found that every single adult in town had just vanished. That is the premise here. A group of high schoolers from a wealthy town called West Ham go on a camping trip, get turned around by a storm, and return to find the town completely empty. No parents, no internet, and the roads out of town are blocked by thick forest. It's like Lord of the Flies meets Stranger Things. They have to figure out how to survive, how to ration food, and eventually, how to govern themselves. You get to see the cliques form, the power struggles, and the mystery of, where did everyone go? It captures that specific teenage anxiety of having to grow up too fast because the adults aren't there to save you anymore. Plus, there is a lingering supernatural mystery about a smell and some writing on the wall that will keep you guessing.
I give you the Umbrella Academy.
Number 4. The Umbrella Academy. If you strip away the monsters, Stranger Things is really about a found family of misfits trying to save the world. The Umbrella Academy is exactly that, just with more daddy issues and a killer soundtrack. If you loved the banter between Steve and Dustin, you will love the Hargreaves siblings. They are a dysfunctional family of adopted superheroes who were all born on the same day and trained to save the world by a cold, distant father. They reunite years later to solve the mystery of his death and, oops, stop an impending apocalypse. Sounds familiar, right? It matches the Stranger Things vibe perfectly with its retro aesthetics, incredible needle drops, I mean, they literally have an iconic dance scene too, I Think We're Alone Now, and the balance between humor and darkness. It's quirky, it's weird, and it has a character named Five who is an old man trapped in a teenager's body, which is the kind of sci-fi weirdness we love. It's less horror, more chaotic superhero fun, but it fills that void perfectly. Number 5. I am not okay with this. We have to talk about the 11 archetype. One of the best parts of Stranger Things was watching Elle figure out her powers while dealing with just being a teenage girl. I am not okay with this is basically that story, but stripped down to be grittier and more indie. Meet Sydney Novak. She's 17, she's awkward, and she's angry. Her dad committed suicide recently, and she is struggling to connect with her mom. But unlike Elle, Sydney isn't in a lab, she's in a boring high school in Pennsylvania. When she gets overwhelmed with emotion, usually anger or embarrassment, she accidentally unleashes telekinetic powers. She cracks walls, flings bowling balls at her crush, and gives bullies nosebleeds. It's a coming-of-age story wrapped in a superpower origin story. It also deals with her confusing feelings for her best friend, Dina, which adds a really sweet, grounded layer to the chaos. It's short, punchy, and the finale, well, let's just say it gets very bloody, very fast.
It's my little man. I'm telling you, Nicole, that kid is something special.
Number 6. Raising Dion. If you were the type of viewer who was more invested in Joyce Byers' storyline, the desperate parent trying to protect her special kid, then Raising Dion is for you. It flips the script and focuses on the mom's perspective of the superpowered child trope. The show follows Nicole, a widowed mom whose young son, Dion, starts manifesting all sorts of abilities, teleportation, levitation, you name it. Instead of a government lab running tests, it's just a mom trying to figure out why this is happening while keeping him safe from a shady biotech company called Biona. It feels very much like Stranger Things because it balances the wonder of magic with the grounded reality of family struggle. There's also a mystery involving a storm entity that looks a lot like the Mind Flayer, and a betrayal by a father figure character that will remind you of some of the darker twists in Hawkins. It's a bit more family friendly, but the emotional core is right there.
Hey, check it out. We're here.
Welcome to Key House.
Number 7. Locke Key. If you loved the lore of the Upside Down and the idea of magical objects, Locke & Key is a must-watch. It's based on a graphic novel by Joe Hill, Stephen King's son, by the way, so the horror pedigree is strong. The story follows the Locke family who move into their ancestral home, Key House, after their dad is murdered. Inside the house, the kids find whispering keys that unlock reality-bending magic. One key lets you go inside your own head, another turns you into a ghost, and another can open a door to anywhere. But, of course, there is a demon named Dodge who wants the keys, and she is just as manipulative and scary as anything from the Upside Down. It has that kids solving a mystery the adults can't see vibe that is the bread and butter of Stranger Things. The production design is gorgeous, and the magical lore is deep enough to keep you theorizing for hours. Number 8. Archive 81. Okay, let's get spooky. If you miss the investigative thrill of Nancy and Jonathan digging into the truth, or the creepy analog horror vibe of the 80s, Archive 81 is a hidden gem you need to see. It's psychological horror at its finest. It's about an archivist named Dan who takes a job restoring damaged camcorder tapes from the 90s. The tapes were filmed by a grad student named Melody who was investigating a weird apartment building called the Visser. As Dan watches the tapes, he starts to realize he can communicate with Melody across time, and he gets pulled into a terrifying mystery involving a cult and a demon called Kilego. The sound design is incredible, lots of static, whispering, and eerie chanting. It captures that feeling of uncovering something you weren't supposed to see that Stranger Things did so well in Season 1. It's a bit more mature and definitely scarier, but it scratches that mystery itch perfectly. Number 9. The Midnight Club. This one is for the storytellers. If you related to Mike Wheeler as the dungeon master, spinning tales for his friends, you will connect with the Midnight Club. It's created by Mike Flanagan, who is a master of horror, and it's set in the 90s, so the nostalgia is still very present. The setting is Bright Cliff, a hospice for terminally ill teenagers. It sounds sad, and it is, but it's also beautiful. Every night at midnight, the patients sneak into the library to tell each other scary stories. They make a pact: the first one to die has to try and send a sign from the beyond. It mixes anthology horror, where we see the stories they tell, with the overarching mystery of the hospice itself, which has a cult history and some very real ghosts. It deals with friendship in the face of death, which is a theme Stranger Things tackled heavily in its later seasons. It's spooky, heartwarming, and very bingeable. Number 10. The A-List. We can't have a nostalgia list without a summer camp, right? Dustin's time at Camp Nowhere was wholesome, but the A-List takes that summer camp setting and turns it into a psychological thriller. It's set on Peregrine Island. You have the cabins, the canoe wars, and the bonfires. The main character, Mia, expects a normal summer, but then a new girl named Amber shows up. Amber is different. She's intensely charismatic, and she starts to turn everyone against Mia. But it's not just mean girl drama. Amber seems to have actual mind control powers. There is weird moss growing in the woods, secret laboratories, and a mystery about a girl who died there the previous year. It's got that don't trust what you see vibe and plenty of cliffhangers. It's a bit more teen drama focused, but the supernatural mystery underneath is solid. Number 11. All of Us Are Dead. If your favorite season was season 3, where the Mind Flayer was building an army and the action was non-stop, then All of Us Are Dead is the adrenaline shot you need. It's a South Korean zombie show, and it is relentless. The premise is simple: a science teacher accidentally creates a virus, sound familiar, and it gets loose in a high school. The students are trapped inside with no phones and no help coming. They have to use whatever they can find, desks, archery equipment, windows, to fight off their infected classmates. The zombies here are fast and terrifying, and there are even half-bees, people who are bitten but don't fully turn, retaining their intelligence with zombie powers. It captures the squad dynamics of Stranger Things perfectly. You have the jock, the nerd, the brave one, all working together to survive against impossible odds. Number
Ghosts who cannot let go.
Number 12. Dead Boy Detectives. Let's lighten the mood a little. Dead Boy Detectives brings the fun back to the supernatural. If you loved the Scooby Gang energy of the Hawkins kids riding their bikes and solving mysteries, you will adore this duo. It's set in the Sandman universe, another Neil Gaiman creation. The main characters, Edwin and Charles, are two teenage ghosts who decided not to move on to the afterlife. Instead, they stayed on Earth to start a detective agency for supernatural crimes. They deal with witches, demons, and the literal embodiment of death trying to catch them. They team up with a psychic girl named Crystal, and the group dynamic is pure gold. It's witty, it's magical, and it has a very distinct visual style. It feels like a spiritual successor to the lighter, more adventurous moments of Stranger Things.
Leave a message after the beep.
Jenny, it's Dad, again. Where are you?
Number 13. Safe. Sometimes you don't need monsters to make a show feel like Stranger Things, you just need a gripping mystery in a small town full of secrets. Safe is a Harlan Coben series, and it channels that Season 1 Joyce Byers' panic perfectly. It stars Michael C. Hall, Dexter, as Tom Delaney, a widowed dad living in a fancy gated community. His teenage daughter goes to a party one night and just never comes home. As he searches for her, he realizes that his safe neighborhood is actually full of lies, affairs, and cover-ups. There are no Demogorgons here, but the tension is identical. You see a parent pushed to the absolute limit, uncovering dark truths about the people he thought he knew. It's a fast binge, only 8 episodes, and it keeps you guessing until the very last scene.
€53,20.
Number 14. Mortel. Finally, let's go to France for Mortel. This show is a fascinating twist on the teens with powers genre. In Stranger Things, the kids are the heroes fighting the darkness. In Mortel, the kids invite the darkness in. It follows Sophie, whose brother has gone missing. Desperate to find him, he and his friend Victor make a pact with a voodoo god named Obey. This deal gives them superpowers. Sophie can manipulate people's actions, and Victor can read minds, but obviously, there is a terrible price to pay. It's stylish, messy, and the characters are flawed in a really interesting way. They aren't perfect heroes, they are angry teenagers making bad decisions, which feels very realistic. The supernatural elements are unique, leaning into voodoo and folklore rather than sci-fi, which gives it a fresh flavor while keeping that teen squad versus evil structure we love. So, that is the list. 14 shows that can help fill that massive void left by Stranger Things. I know. None of them are exactly the same. Nothing will ever replace the feeling of seeing the Upside Down for the first time or jamming out to Kate Bush while Max runs for her life. That show defined a generation. But just because the story is over doesn't mean the vibe has to die. I really hope you give one of these a shot. Personally, I'd say start with Dark if you want your brain to hurt, or Dead Boy Detectives if you just want to have a good time. Let me know in the comments, which one of these are you adding to your watch list? Or if I missed a hidden gem that you think belongs on this list, tell me down below. We're all in this post-finale support group together. If this video helped you find your next binge, please hit that like button, it really helps the channel. And don't forget to subscribe, because even though Hawkins is closed, we've got plenty more sci-fi and fantasy to talk about. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.